Good day. My name is Robin Thomas, and in this video, me and my teammates Sayaditya and Sham Sundar will be explaining our virtualization project. Now, the title of our project is Mac OS VM using QMO and KVM. Now, the objective of our project is as follows. Consider the case of developing a mobile app which uses many native features of a device. Cross-platform apps aren't a solution because they cannot utilize the native features of the device as they have limited access to the API. So, the best way to go is to make native apps for both Android and iOS. But an iOS app requires Mac OS for development. Let's say you don't have a Mac. Then you'll have to run Mac on any other laptop, and that isn't simple. There are a lot of hurdles to get it to making it to work. You'll need extreme amount of patience and an intimate knowledge of the hardware you're working. And by intimate, I mean you need to know the brand of laptops, which is the touchpad, the keyboard type, wireless, Ethernet card type, brand, motherboard, GPU, CPU, RAM amount, sound input output, and so on. And anything else which you might need to get working. It's exceedingly difficult to even boot the macOS installer in laptops. Also, simply running macOS won't yield the required performance. So, our solution is to create a macOS VM which would give a performance nearly equal to the macOS on a Mac, using several KVM optimization techniques and also an attempt to pass through the GPU. Over to you, Sham.
Hello, I'm Sham, and I'm going to talk about the software and technology used. I'm pretty sure that you would have got the introduction of the project from Robin, so I'll just get straight to the point. For the main technology which we used is the virtual machine monitor, which we use over here is Quick Emulator, or which is also known as QEMU. The reason why we use QEMU is because it is free and open source, and the other reason it works based on Unix integration. So is our base OS, which is POP, which also works on Unix integration. So Unix based systems. So QEMU and POP can go hand in hand and it'll work pretty well with each other because QEMU has already the necessary APIs and libraries required to run on the operating system. So what QEMU basically does is it emulates the machine's processor through dynamic binary translation and provides a set of different hardware and device models for the machine, enabling it to run on various guest operating systems. QEMU basically runs on four different modes: the user mode emulation, the system mode emulation, the kernel KVM hosting, and Zen hosting. We'll first go to user mode emulation. In user mode emulation, the applications, the programs of the guest OS will be ran on a different architecture, but whereas all the resources will still be present on the base OS. So when we go next is system emulation. In system emulation, all the resources which are present in the base OS will be directly given into the emulator, so it will make it easier and the processing speed to be better for the guest OS to run on. Third is the KVM hosting, which we used on a project. I will talk about KVM in the later slides. So in this, QEMU deals basically with setting up of migration of KVM images. In this, the hardware will be provided to the guest OS, and the hardware will be provided to the guest OS which is requested by the emulator, and rest of the applications will be taken care by the emulator. Finally, we come to Zen hosting. QEMU is involved in emulation of hardware. The execution of guest is done within the Zen and is totally hidden. This is basically you could say as abstraction, which we generally use. So let's get to kernel-based virtual machine, which is also called as KVM. KVM is a virtualization module in Linux kernel that allows the kernel to function as a hypervisor. KVM requires a processors with hardware virtualization extensions such as Intel Video AMD processors. And KVM has also been ported for, which makes KVM also available for various operating systems since it is very flexible. That's what it's trying to say. So then let's get to the testing part, which we use for comparison for various results. So we used our guest OS running Linux in comparison with the actual computer which has the Mac OS hardware and Mac OS running on it. So the two softwares which we used is Geekbench and iBench. We'll first get to Geekbench. Geekbench is a cross-platform processor with a secure scoring system that scores in a single score and multi-core process and works a load that simulates real-world scenarios. So in Geekbench, what basically happens is it'll run when you run the application, it'll do all the tests at the runtime when you're running basically. And this Geekbench is available for cross-platform, which means you can compare the how much it's working on your guest OS, that is Mac OS, which you used, and on the Pop OS, or you can compare with the guest Mac OS and the real Mac OS, and you can compare the performance with your guest OS and any other OS across the world, that is Windows or whatever you want. And iBench is what is the main difference which is going to make between our Mac OS guest running system and the real Mac OS guest running system. So because in iBench is only made for Mac OS platforms, so it'll make it easier since the test will be related to Mac OS. So using these results, we were able to get to various conclusions, which will be talked about in later. Now over to Satya, who will talk about how we installed Mac OS into our emulator. Thank you.
Thank you, Sham. I'm Sai Aditya, here to speak on how to go about the procedure of installation. Mac OS is not available to download for the general public. The easiest way to obtain the installation files would be to download an OS update into a pen drive using a real Mac. But for those who do not own a Mac, this isn't feasible, as Mac devices often come with a hefty price tag. In our project, we have used QEMU to run macOS as the guest OS and also KVM to provide performance enhancements. We also use Intel graphics card for the display. If we use graphics card available in laptop, which is GTX 1050, we need another display, that is external monitor, connected to the laptop. The host OS used was Pop OS, a lightweight Linux distribution with a focus on keep it simple principle. This OS was chosen because of its very low resource utilization when the machine is in an idle state. To install the VM, the first step would be to download the base OS file. We were able to capture the Apple download link and used it to get the OS IMG. Then we patched it with the Clover bootloader for Macs, which is an array of optimizations to help boot from unsupported hardware. Then we boot and install the guest OS. Upon booting, we notice that the RAM usage may be a bit high. Nothing can be done about it. This is because the macOS is closed source and optimization is only possible to a certain extent. If needed, we can assign more RAM to the guest OS. Now that we have macOS up and running, we can analyze the performance. We use benchmarking tools such as Geekbench and iBench for this. Both are highly trusted and industry professionals are using it currently to analyze performance. We take a peek at the resource utilization of guest OS. This is done by a terminal tool called GoTop. As you can see, this is the login screen for macOS, which appears when VM is booted up first. We must enter a password to proceed further. Now we see this is the desktop of macOS. In the dock, we see some application shortcuts that we can launch from the desktop. This is Geekbench, one of the benchmarking tools we use for measuring performance. It gives the final result of single core and multi-core performance. Upon clicking this Run CPU Benchmark button, it gathers the performance aspects of the system and sends it to browser.geekbench.com website. This takes about 3 minutes in total. The parameters which Geekbench accounts for is listed for single and multi-core processors. This is iBench, another benchmarking tool we use for this project. Now we launch the test for benchmarking here. This is how execution results look like. The resources utilized by the guest OS now can be seen on GoTop terminal tool as seen here. Now over to Robin for the analysis of our benchmark scores obtained with an actual Mac.
Thank you, Sai. Now, the time has come to compare the results obtained from the Geekbench and the iBench results with that of an actual Mac OS installed on a Mac. As you can see in the video over here, on the left we see the results obtained from our Mac OS which we had installed, and on the right we see the results from an actual Mac, from an actual MacBook Pro. As you can see, it's a 2017 model. Now, as you can see from the results, we got a single core score of 581, and it's only 300 points lesser than that obtained from the MacBook Pro. It's very clear from the screenshots that the performance of our guest OS is comparable. This is thanks to the KVM optimization which we have. Without KVM optimization, the difference would have been greater than 600. Now let's compare some of the parameters between these two performances comparisons. Over here we can see the AES XTS score, which tells how quickly you can read from the disk and how many, what is the speed of the write operations per second. Now it's very clear, since we have only 2 GB of RAM in our guest OS compared to the 8 GB here, the performance is not going to be the same. We can see that we are getting a speed of 115.6 Mbps per second, whereas in the regular Mac you get a speed of 1.6 GB per second. Next we'll take a look at SQLite, and it reads at 196K rows per second. That's 196,000 rows per second. And here it is 271,000 rows per second. Now coming to HTML5, we get 589.6 thousand elements per second, whereas in the regular Mac you get 909.6 thousand elements per second. For rigid body physics, we get 4,986.8 FPS, whereas here we get 1,119 FPS. And then you can see the multi-core performances as well. As you can see, a very detailed comparison is being done by Geekbench. Now, from these results, it's very clear that this can be used as an environment for app development using tools like Xcode and so on. This helps us to perform native app development for iOS, which cannot be done on any other OS as mentioned earlier. This enables us to utilize the advantages of native app development without having to rely on cross-platform solutions. This was the goal of our project. Now, this is a small video which shows the performance of our Mac OS. As we can see, the version installed is Mac OS Mojave version 8.14.4 and is installed on the following hardware. We can further see the display settings, storage settings, support, and service. Here is a demonstration of using the search feature in the installed OS. Finally, we open an application, Safari, and watch as it loads Apple's homepage without any connection issues. Thank you. This is Robin signing off.